How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Tap the banner or visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number, save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Welcome to Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy, a literary podcast where we deep dive into the writings of your favorite novels. During this season of Aquarius, we are hosting a book club while we prepare our literary analysis of Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Silver Flames.
This is Jack.
And I'm Amy.
And each week we'll discuss one book from our Season of Aquarius book club roster. By using our literary background, we'll provide our flash analysis of each book, as well as discuss listener thoughts. This week we're discussing Blood and Brujas by Mikayla Hornedo.
The views expressed by the hosts are entirely their own and in no way represent the thoughts or intentions of the original author. This podcast is a discussion shared to spark thought and conversation on the characters and themes of this novel. The interpretations presented in this podcast are just a few of many possibilities. Listeners are encouraged to read along and share their own analysis of the text.
Though the hosts speak mostly within the constraints of this book, series spoilers may be discussed with or without warning. Explicit language, as well as themes of sex, violence, abuse, depression, self-harm, and death will recur throughout this podcast. Listener discretion is advised. If you're enjoying the podcast, please check out our Patreon for more exclusive content. You can find us at patreon.com/booktalkforbooktalk. We may be recording for Season of Aquarius, but we literally just entered Season of Sagittarius for when we're recording this.
It's true.
Amy is in Minnesota. I am in Kentucky. It is December 22nd. So if we sound different, if the video looks different,
That's why.
We're in the past. We're in a whole year behind.
Yeah, crazy. It's crazy how close this year is to ending.
No, yay. I don't know how I feel. Woohoo.
Yeah, I mean, every year we're like, I hope next year's better. You know what?
I know. Well, I'm worried because January is always something. Something always happens in January.
Channy says it's going to be a good January for us.
If you guys don't follow Channy Nicholas, and she has her app, Channy, the Channy app. She's an astrologer. She's one of my favorite astrologers. And every single week for like the last month, she keeps saying like Scorpio risings, don't overspend. Don't put money out there. Overdo it. And I just want to send her a note being like, when can I overspend? Because you keep telling me not to. And I really want to. Like, I just stop telling me not to spend money when all I want to now is to spend money.
Yeah, I think I've been spending money, but I've definitely been spending less money than I would normally spend this time of year.
We just need a wonderful woman to tell you to stop spending money because of your astrology sign for us to really pull back. That's not what we're here for.
That is not what we're here for.
We are here to discuss Blood and Brujas. So, hands up, tits up. I was practicing and now I forgot what the thing is, I came up with the first half, but I don't know when I'm coming up with the second half. So here we go. I understand why people like it. My writing preference, different.
I was going to say,
I'm a full cave woman.
My preference doesn't align.
I don't want to say that because I don't want it to be like, that's because you don't like women, Jack. And I'm like, no, I was fine with that. It's writing style. Okay, you go.
I appreciated the lesbian representation, or queer woman, but that's more words. So we're going to go with lesbian.
You're like, I need to really sum this up in ways that,
Yeah. I feel conflicted about structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm actually really proud of myself because I don't think ahead.
Did you just hold your boobs to say you're proud of yourself?
Yes, I did. I need some joy in my life.
It's a comfort thing. You do grab your boobs when we all grab our boobs. Anyway, yeah. So this is a very interesting one to discuss. I posted it on our stories to be like, hey, like, what are your thoughts? And for everyone who said we should read it, not a single one of you fucking said anything in those. All of a sudden, I'm like, where are the people that were like, read Blood and Brujas? And I'm like, okay, we did it. What are your thoughts?
Nothing. I mean, it could be the fact that it is a holiday week. People are traveling.
No.
They're with their families and their loved ones. I'm going to cut them some slack.
Good for you. For cutting them slack.
Jack is unforgiving.
No, I know. That's because I'm putting myself on Do Not Disturb. That's because it is. Oh yeah, that's because it's the last week of right before Christmas, and I'm still working. Like, no, not a single person has asked to circle back in the new year, and if they won't, then I won't either. So, okay. Let's start on some of the aspects that you and I really enjoyed. And for me personally, that was the world. I was like, oh, witches and vampires? Sign me the hell up. I really appreciated the unique take on, when you kind of get vampires and witches. And I feel like even the fact that the witches drank blood, but different kinds of blood, I was like, this is different. I love seeing something new.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like there was a lot of depth to the world, and it's obvious that there's more to the world than we've even seen at this point. And I did enjoy that. I enjoyed and I felt like in addition to that, layered on top of that, the political strife between the various states was well done. I think it's hard to do that well. And I think that it was convincing to me. And it all worked together between magic, between politics, between races, or, however we want to just cultures. So I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed their differences because it was very stark. It does well to explain why there's strife between the various groups.
Yeah, I never was questioning, why do they not like each other? And even from just not just like culture or I don't know, traditions, but also with religious structure, like each of them have their own religion and what they believe in. And, I love a book that really plots it out and kind of has the answers to some of these things. Obviously, it's part of the larger narrative and storyline to go into religion, but I do love it when an author takes the time to flesh those things out.
Yes. And I just loved the irony of the religious fanaticism of the vampires under Kaiser.
Oh, Kaiser. Yeah.
The irony of that was very humorous to me.
Yeah. Because normally we get like non-religious vampire, or just like vampires being religious is funny because,
Right. Or their religion is always somewhat like satanic dark, where this wasn't necessarily the case. It was just a religion that worshipped a god or was a little bit idolatrous, whatever the case is. I thought that was well done.
Yeah, I'm excited for us to get more. Do we get more into the religious side of it now? Do we talk about that now? Because I had some thoughts on that too.
Yeah, let's do it if that's where we're going.
Yeah, I like where she was going with religion, and obviously I felt like there was a lot of social commentary about women's rights and women's roles in society. Obviously, Daya comes from a matriarchal world where the women rule, men aren't really there. You kind of go outside just to have some babies and, you're all going to get daughters. Love it, appreciate it. And then you have Kaiser's world where women are not necessarily the women were still had high ranking positions though too. I thought he had like a female general.
Right.
Or
Quinn or, non-binary, I think. I can't remember.
Non-binary?
I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Maybe they were female. The point being, But there were some conservative values. It's not that they can't have sex and they can't hold positions of power, but they can't wear revealing clothing and they must be submissive.
Yeah. So this is where there was a line where it made me poke my head up. And there was something when I didn't like the way that Daya treated the wedding planner. I actually particularly had issues with it because the wedding planner to me represented stereotypical feminine, the quote unquote feminine joy of weddings and pretty. And, she's just really happy and bubbly. And to me, there's nothing wrong with that. I can't wait to plan a wedding. I say that thinking I'll probably do something. I mean, first I need a man, but it probably would be fast. But I love watching you plan your wedding. I love weddings. I love love. And it felt like such a comment against women's interest and what women are allowed to like. It's one of those things where I think Taylor Swift said something one time. She was like, I want to be a feminist and be able to like glittery pink, I want to be able to have these two interests. And I'm going to read a quote because there was a couple of quotes I had here that I noted. And it was just something where it was it felt almost, let's see if I'm using the word incorrectly. It felt almost very, altruistic, trying to be having a moral of the story without embracing some of the nuances to that.
What altruistic is to be giving.
Oh, altruistic. Pious. That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
In a way where, it was kind of I have all of the answers. You'll get what I'm saying. Okay. So immediately from thinking about the wedding planner, who I felt was just nice. She was talkative. She was nice. She was just essentially what I would deem as a girly girl, right? Daya then goes, quote, the women of Sandry had been so domesticated that most of them lost themselves completely. Some of them are happy to play the role, whatever floats your boat, but look incredibly empty. Every person in our kingdom had a purpose. We were encouraged as children to find things we were good at, honing those skills, then use them, even if the things we were good at was not necessarily good things. And this is where I have issues because if a woman wants to go and raise kids and, have her partner go do their thing, it does not that is a purpose. And to say that the women in our kingdom have a purpose, I found a lot of fault. And I couldn't tell if this was one of those moments where we're supposed to look at this and be like, oh, Daya, you've got some issues, you're feeling this way because you're trying to say you're just justify reasons why your mother was a bad mother. And this is you trying to work that out. But it also kind of comes off across because she has these her coming off as having the higher ground morally throughout. And I think as the reader, we're meant to look at her and be like, yes, she has the moral high ground on these situations. But the way that she treated women who were, and this isn't just Daya, but maybe some of the characters that Mikayla handled, I felt were things that I would want to ask her more about. Even when it comes to the woman who was obsessed with Kaiser and
Athena.
And it just was she was just so one-dimensional of, I love him. He's I'm meant to be on that throne. And it was just very petty girl fight without any substance to it, without giving this woman where it's I'm okay having women be petty. I'm okay women fighting over a man, but make her more than a personality than just, that's my man. And I felt that for me came hand in hand with being confused on what the narrative is supposed to be around religion, because it came off of Athena and then it came off of the wedding planner. And then, Daya says these things and I'm like, well, I love cooking for boyfriends. I love it. I love cooking for my mom and my friends. That doesn't make me a bad person.
Yeah, this is all very interesting. So let me, in no particular order, talk through some of the things that you said.
I walked 10,000 steps on my walking pad at work, and I was wearing my Uptown sneakers by Vionic.
Dang, I think I got 3,000 steps, but I was in my Gabby sneakers from Vionic, and those actually just came out.
I love the look and the feel of my Vionic sneakers, whether it's my Walk Slim Glides or my Uptown sneakers. I wear them to work, I get compliments, and I get my 10,000 steps in.
That's because Vionic's exclusive VioMotion technology is really what sets them apart. They began by revolutionizing medical orthotics, and today they continue to use that science to engineer shoes that leave you feeling energized and confident all day. Like, truly, these are the most comfortable shoes I own.
I can stand at my desk all day, I can walk at my desk all day, and I feel great. And what's even better is Vionic offers a 30-day guarantee. Wear them, love them, or return them for a full refund within 30 days. And I haven't done that.
I don't think you're going to. I mean, not when they look this cute, because they put just as much care into making them stylish and cute as they do in making them feel comfortable and absolutely walkable.
Use code BookTok at checkout for 15% off your entire order at VionicShoes.com when you log into your account. It's a one-time use only, so get every style on the planet.
Vionic shoes, wearable well-being for your feet. One of my confessions is that in my 20s, I got docked with overdraft fees all of the time.
The pain of my 20s and overdraft fees.
If we had Chime, everything would have been different.
That's because Chime isn't just another banking app. They unlock smarter banking for everyday people like you and me with products like MyPay.
It's not like old school banks that charge you for overdraft fees or monthly fees. It's built for you, the person, not the 1%.
They even give you access for up to $500 of your paycheck anytime and getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. And some of those old banks still don't do this.
I didn't even know it was an option until the Chime.
Chime helps you build your credit history stress-free because you're using your cash to build that credit.
Earn up to 3% APY on savings. Also, you guys don't understand how great that is because it is 7 times higher than traditional banks. Chime is not just smarter banking. It is the most rewarding way to bank. Join the millions who already bank fee-free today.
It just takes a few minutes to sign up. Head to chime.com/booktalk. That's chime.com/BOOKTALK.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services, a secured Chime Visa credit card, and MyPay line of credit provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. MyPay eligibility requirements apply, and credit limit ranges $20 to $500. Optional services and products may have fees or charges. See chime.com/feesinfo. Advertised annual percentage yield with Chime Plus status only. Otherwise, 1.00% APY applies. No min balance required. Chime card on-time payment history may have a positive impact on your credit score. Results may vary. See chime.com for details and applicable terms.
I think, first of all, and this is as per usual, we listened to this. We did not read a physical book. I think the narrator was not great. I think
I agree.
The narrator's delivery of Athena and the wedding planner, I can't remember her name, the event planner, were very one-dimensional characters. And maybe
how that would come across if we read it.
Right, exactly. Right. Her delivery was very vapid feminine, is how the narrator delivered it. I don't know if the writing necessarily means that they're vapid feminine. They could be, and that's fine. But I do think a lot of the issue stems initially from how the narrator delivered those lines.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion.
I agree.
I'm not saying that I think Athena I don't necessarily feel like Athena or the event planner were particularly deep in terms of character, but I reserve the right to believe that there might be more depth that was not approached in this first book.
It was also Dia's reaction to those characters that I also was like, I'm like, again, is that a narration thing? Because the narrator would be like, and I don't think that at least the women in my world have this. I mean, and it's the tone, like it's totally tone with it. But, it's hard when, even if those characters are one-dimensional, fine, be one-dimensional. But Dia's reaction speaks volumes. And I don't know if it's Dia, thank you. And Dia's reaction speaks volumes. And I don't know if it's a volume that the author intended for us to be like, ooh, let's have thoughts here. Or if the author intended us to be like, hell yeah.
So my interpretation of Dia is she's a very unreliable narrator and very biased. She's a very stabby FMC, very stabby. And anybody who is not a stabby FMC is weak, right? She loves that Zuri's into her bloodlust. She loves that she's strong and powerful and can kick ass, right? And so anything that isn't kicking ass is bad. That's how I choose to interpret the narration. Is that what the author intended? I don't know. Because of who the character is, I believe the way she judges Athena and the event planner. I don't like that character, right?
Daya or those other characters?
Daya.
Yeah.
I there was no empathy, and there was no empathy learned. Like, I think if Daya had started out that way and had learned to develop empathy for these other women, I think that would have been a deeper story. But there was no growth on that dimension in particular, right? She's just very set in her ways. And basically, she has no capacity to be wrong. That's, to me, a character flaw more than, I don't know. I think that's a character flaw on the protagonist's part, not on the part of the women around her.
And I agree. And since this is the first book we read, I think it's part of a series. I mean, especially since it leads on a cliffhanger, we can only assume it's a series.
Right.
We haven't read anything beyond this book. I don't know if the other books are available or not, but we don't know if she grows. And that's the thing, where if this is a character flaw that she has, where she realizes that she's wrong, and not just wrong in the sense of, I didn't know this person betrayed me, I feel like a fool. That's not the level of wrong. The level of wrong is the way that she dismissed women, and it's the women that she dismissed, which kind of like really bugged me. And especially since she comes from this badass feminist matriarchal society where it's like, okay, but you dismiss these women who are essentially weaker. And if I needed that hint in this book of her kind of being like, maybe I screwed up, and instead we kind of like get an ending with the epilogue with Athena, who then doubles down in her like stereotypical shittiness, where we don't, as the reader, we have less empathy for her. And, it makes me think of Kaltain in Throne of Glass, where, we, the reader, read Kaltain and we're like, oh, she's this vapid. All she cares about is, Dorian. But when you read her and you don't even have to go into the series to know by the end of the book, you should have some empathy for her. And that's not what we had here. There was not a moment of, wow, maybe there's some growth here, a hint of it, where Daya doesn't have to be like, come to that realization now, but we, the reader, should be able to say, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't trust Daya. Maybe I should be a little hesitant and wonder why she's treating these two women in this certain way.
Yeah. And I don't know if somehow I'm going to bring this back to religion. Mm-hmm. Not at this moment, though. But
here's a little teaser for what my thoughts are going to come to.
I don't know if the author's intention was Daya is not capable of accepting women because her mother didn't accept her.
Yeah.
Like kind of going back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
Or is she so biased against the religion? Because she has no tolerance for their religion, right? No tolerance at all. And so therefore, to what extent does she also not tolerate the women of that religion because they're quote unquote dumb enough to submit themselves to it? Is that intentional? Did that naturally come about in the story just by happenstance? I don't know. But to your point, I'm sad that Daya had no remorse ever, except for I feel betrayed by Zuri. And I have other thoughts about that I'm not going to get back to. But I think the intolerance of the religion, I choose to allow the intolerance towards the religion to inform a lot about Daya's character and how she treats other people, especially the women.
And I think that when it comes to this idea of religion and the intolerance of religions that are not kind necessarily or to women or expect submission from them, this is a conversation that I think is complicated and has a lot of nuance. And if you're going to bring that to a book, you need to be prepared to represent the nuance about that. And it shouldn't just be a dismissal of, well, the women are submissive, that's the religion's fault. And I say this having many issues with many religions. Okay. like and I say this coming like a lot of issues, a lot of different religions. I also am a 36-year-old woman who has lived in many different locations, have interacted with women from many different religions and many different backgrounds. And for me to automatically dismiss something that they believe in and choose to follow a more conservative, quote unquote, traditional approach to life, I would be a bad feminist to say you can't do that, regardless of my personal feelings, regardless of me thinking, well, did you choose it or were you brought up in an environment that makes you feel like you have to choose it? And you then have to ask yourself, do I believe you as a woman have the capability to make that choice? But just because it's a choice I might not agree with, I can't automatically assume that you are ignorant and you're choosing poorly or you're just trapped in this religion. And that's like, again, there's nuance. There are people who I believe who are trapped within the culture that they were raised in and don't feel like they're able to branch out and, are stuck in this ongoing process or cycle. But then I also believe that there are women who are fully capable of making choices regardless of whether I like it or not. And that's what it comes down to in this world. I believe in religious freedom. And again, and that has nothing to do with my own personal preference, but if that's like a conversation that is super nuanced, it's super delicate, and like I am all for having books tackle that, I got zero nuance from this conversation. It was just straight up, that religion's wrong because you guys are, the women are being submissive. And even though she has that one line of whatever floats your boat, but is immediately followed by they look empty. And it's such a dismissal of women being able to choose. And again, there's a lot of like, well, what about this? And then there's this. That's called nuance. There was zero of that. And you can't bring that conversation into a book and not follow that line, thought of process, if that makes sense.
And I want to cut Mikayla some slack, only in the sense that the narrative was such a close first person that if there was nuance, it was very hard to identify because of Daya's personality and the narrative choices, right? Nuance would be easier to convey in a third person narrative.
Yeah. Or if Daya admitted she was wrong at one point.
Oh, right. Or if Daya picked up on clues. But because we're seeing things from her perspective and she's unwilling to identify any errors on her part, that makes it very, very difficult for the reader to identify nuance, whether or not the author intended for there to be nuance. So I think also it's a narrative choice that was made that didn't serve the story.
I think this is a great transition into Daya and who she is. I think that when, we look at Goodreads, because not a single one of our listeners who recommended it commented, and I went to Goodreads and I was looking at some of the reviews and people loved this strong FMC. And I get it. She's a true badass. She's unapologetic. I love a woman in power, but like you've brought up, her strength and her, kind of thick head, like of like just being like so secure and so strong got in the way of some of these other things that if Mikayla was trying to portray and trying to get us to catch the strength of this female character and how clear her voice is. And this is a very clear voice. There was never a moment where I thought this is not very Daya of her. Like She was so strong in her voice and consistent, to the point where I'm like, kind of like you're saying, I'm like, well, if there was anything else that I'm supposed to be catching, I can't catch it.
Right, exactly. And I think, so in some ways, Daya made me think of Bryce from Crescent City. Now, Crescent City, there's lots of secrets, which is the reason for a third person narrative versus a first person. Same with Throne of Glass, right? With Selena, too many secrets. Compared to Feyre, who has no secrets.
You get what you see.
Right. And I would say in both Selena and Bryce's situation, we're dealing with very strong-willed, very stubborn women whose personality is conveyed sufficiently in the third person. And I think this is a lesson for me that if I have a very strong, stubborn woman whose actions clearly convey their thoughts, first person might be too overpowering. Because at the end of the day, I felt like, good job for Mikayla. Daya is consistent. Daya is Daya. I know who she is. On the flip side, though, there are things that suffer in the story because it's only Daya's perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't get the nuance of like, what's someone else's reaction to Daya? Because if her processing other people's reactions is going to be through the lens of Daya. So every time that she thinks like, it's like, what am I supposed to do every single time where she gets an outfit and goes, my boobs look great. My boobs look awesome. I look incredible, which again, I love it. I love a confident FMC. But am I supposed to read this as a one-dimensional confident FMC who is like, I look awesome and I am not apologetic? Or am I supposed to look at this as someone who didn't have a say on the scars on her body, who has had to hide her back and is only able to show off other sides of her body in order to distract from something else? You know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to do with that? So versus third person, maybe we could get a little bit more of those insecurities without it coming from Daya.
Right, because one of the things about Daya's perspective is she assigns meaning to everything she observes. So she assigns meaning to everybody's facial expression, to their reactions. And to what extent is that Daya's interpretation versus the author telling us what the other character's thinking? I don't know. I'm going to choose it to be the lens of this is Daya's interpretation of what is going on, because that's her character anyway, which means we can't, it's harder to tell how much she's unreliable. It's hard to tell what other characters are truly thinking. It's hard to tell, is her obsession with her looks overcompensation for the lack of engagement from her mother? You know, is it a coping mechanism for the brutality that she undergoes? It's kind of hard to tell, and I think it would be easier to tell had it been in third person, so that there was less was prescribed to what's going on around her, and we could see it from a slightly more objective point of view.
Agreed. Completely agreed. It makes me want to know more about Daya, and I wish we had more point of views if we were going to get it, you know, other people's interpretation. And like you said, I think it's a good moment in writing where, and again, maybe this was in the book, if we'd read it, we would see those moments, but because we got a narrator who wasn't my favorite narrator, and who, when she spoke, she also did give people very distinct voices. And I don't really like the way that she portrayed Daya sometimes, where it was like, I don't know how, I'm like, what is this feeling? I'm like, I think it's just like, she made Daya sound way more cocky than she might have actually been.
Yeah. And callous.
Yeah, very callous.
This is the part of the story where the Fae magic pauses for capitalism. I've been clearing out my closet, and it just reminds me I need to shop more at Quince because I am tired of fast fashion.
Quince has your back because they are all about elevated, essential fashion that helps you build a wardrobe that feels timeless. With versatile silhouettes and thoughtful details, they're the kind of style that you will wear again and again. I know that because I see you wear it again and again.
I want what I wear to be effortless, but like in the best way.
Quince has wardrobe staples with quality that's made to last. 100% organic cotton sweaters, premium denim made with stretch for comfort all day. That's what I get because I can't handle tough denim.
I love their luxe cotton cashmere blends that are perfect for the changing seasons and my work wardrobe.
Quince works directly with safe, ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen so you don't have to pay for brand markups. They're all about high quality clothing.
Quince uses the highest quality materials like 100% European linen and organic cotton. Everything is built to hold up season after season so that you can wear them again and again. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/booktalk for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too.
That's QUINCE.com/booktalk, BOOKTALK, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/booktalk.
I'm at that age where I'm willing to try anything just for the sake of wellness. And Brello makes finding the right metabolic wellness support easy.
I've been on a GLP-1 for 8 months now. It's been one of the best things that I have done for me. Getting connected to a provider who can give guidance for a GLP-1 can be tricky, but Brello has made the whole experience so straightforward. I knew when I started a GLP-1, I wanted something that was a more sustainable approach to metabolic wellness. And I needed to focus on habits, education, and structure alongside provider insight. And that provider insight is what Brello has offered.
Brello provides transparent pricing with one flat monthly cost. GLP-1 plans start as low as $133 per month with a 3-month commitment.
Brello provides access to a private online community for support and accountability.
I love that they have built-in virtual wellness classes because they range from exercise to nutrition to mindfulness, all of which is important to the metabolic journey.
Brello also has an easy-to-use app to track progress, manage reminders, and stay on top of renewals.
Go to BrelloHealth.com today to see if you qualify. Use the promo code BookTok, BookTalk, at checkout to get your first 3 months for $133 per month.
That's BrelloHealth.com and use promo code BookTalk, BookTalk. All patients must meet with a healthcare provider prior to any medication being prescribed or dispensed. Any medications ultimately dispensed to a patient will be done pursuant to a valid prescription from a healthcare provider. Compounded drug products are not FDA approved. FDA does not evaluate compounded products for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Compounded medications are not reviewed or verified by the FDA for safety, effectiveness, or quality and are not FDA approved. Not available in all 50 states.
And again, not sure if that would come across in the writing, if that was even the author's intention. That's what the narrator portrayed.
And I know that, like, I saw someone in Goodreads say, like, people aren't going to like it because she's not a likable character. And I'm like, I'm fine with unlikable characters. Or maybe this is the kind of unlikable that I found my limit, and this isn't like, you know, I don't want to be like, I'm okay with unlikable characters. The problem is diet. No, like, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe this is the one where I like, this is an unlikable character that I just managed to not like. So I don't want to, like, you know, put this all on diet. But for the most part, I haven't encountered an unlikable character that I can't find some kind of empathy towards. And, you know, there were a number of people on Goodreads who were like, yeah, she's unlikable. And I love it. You know, let a woman be an unlikable character, which, you know what, maybe her unlikability, because I don't think she's meant to be written as a very likable character. I don't think she's meant to be written as, like, you know, everyone adores her. It's like, she's a pill. Whether you can swallow it or not is up to you. And, you know, maybe I'm the problem because, like, there is a lot of people who really enjoyed it. And I'm someone that was like, I just needed her to have an inch of empathy.
Yeah, I don't think that I found myself intolerant of her unlikability. I did enjoy her unlikability and the fact that she's unapologetic. I personally think the narrative choice did her injustice, if that makes sense. I think that, for example, a lot of people don't like Nesta. Nesta is an unlikable character. I fucking love Nesta.
Yeah.
But I also identify a lot with Nesta in a way that I don't necessarily identify with Daya. I like a badass woman. The difficulties I had with Daya all came down to narrative choices.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my biggest sticking point is how she treated women. And that's the one where, and I don't know if that's a narrative choice or if that's a Daya choice. And that's where, you know, and so for me, the second that she, like, I just hated how mean she was to the wedding planner. Like, that really bugged me because I do like girly girl things. And, you know, I was just kind of like, oh, Daya, you'd hate me. But I am someone who is capable of being a badass. And it's like, you didn't even give this wedding planner a chance. And it's like, oh, she's talkative and she likes these frilly things. And it's like, okay, and you like dresses.
Yeah.
You like dresses that show your boobs. Like, I don't see what are we doing here? So that was the moment where, for me personally, I fell out of like with Daya. And then when it came to her narration on religion, I was willing to definitely, you know, I mean, win me over. I'm not someone that's like, you know, there's no character that's truly dead to me. I'm thinking in my rosters of characters that's truly dead to me. I'm sure there's one, but like, I am all for you make me like them again. You know, show me the moment where I'm able to say like, I get it now. And I never had that moment. So my taste, the residual taste, and I agree with you. I think the majority of the things I might have issues with are stylistic choices. But that it was, you know, I'll hold on to that one thing. And I didn't have any redemption there.
No, I think that's fair. I think that if I were to read whatever books follow this initial book, if I never saw Daya change her attitude toward women like the wedding planner, if she'd never found herself capable of empathy, that would be the like, what expression do I want to use? Everything I keep thinking.
Nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it would be the nail in the coffin for me. It would be the thing that made it unreadable for me. We don't know the rest of her journey. We didn't read the rest of this, you know, whatever. I don't know how long the series is. I didn't read that. I didn't look up her journey anywhere online. So without knowing it, I hope that she comes around.
Yeah, I think this is more of like for me as a writer who would want to write my own book. And this is totally preference because, again, there may not be tons of reviews on this book, but for the reviews that there are, it's mostly very, very positive. So clearly this is a personal preference thing, has nothing to do with Mikayla and her writing skills. But for me personally, I'd want to start a book of saying, what are the list of flaws that my character has at the very beginning? I would need to see some cracks in the flaws. You don't have to have a lot of it, just something to say like, oh, maybe there's some recognition, maybe there's some obvious identification, because I don't know if any characters really identified her flaws. No one sat her down and been like, Daya, you got issues, my girl. Like, you really need to get yourself out of this. Like, there was never a moment that was like, Daya, maybe you're the problem, you know, in this situation. And that it's one of those things where I like, again, does that come out in future books? Maybe. For me personally, if that's what's going to happen, I need a teaser of what's to come. Yeah.
The only people that might have spoken up against Daya were killed by Daya, like Rosa and her second.
Yeah.
So yeah, there wasn't any balance in that sense. It's hard for me to judge because I also understand there's only so much you can do in a first book. I don't know if this was Kayla's debut. Like, I don't know enough about it but let me look it up really fast.
I know. Now I want to know.
She might have been doing like 3 series at once.
I think so.
I'm seeing three different series that all started within a year of each other. And one of them, the second was Blood and Brujas.
So the first one was The Sun and Storm that was published in May 2023.
Right.
After that was the next one, October 2023. And then timeline-wise, the next one is March 2024, which is Blood and Brujas.
I think I think some of the flaws we see in Daya, to me, that's a new author thing. And I think that, you know, as Mikayla writes more, and honestly, different characters, it might play out completely differently, right? I think it's hard to tell, but it does feel like the first of few books. It reads like a debut, if that makes sense.
I think, yeah, completely. Because the pacing of it was interesting because it wasn't until like 70 to 75% in when we got her mother betrayed her aspect and now she needs to go to war. And to me, that's a 50% thing when you're 50% in. And there seemed to have been a lot of time on just wedding planning, on just this back and forth of Kaiser and Ziri. And, you know, like there was no plot that was actually happening. So I didn't have anything to react to with Daya. There was the only thing that I was reacting to was what she was reacting to. And it was all surface level. So her surface level reaction makes me have a surface level reaction. The moment that I started having more empathy, more, I want to know more of what's going to happen, wasn't until her mother's betrayal. Then I was like, oh, this is a good twist. And structurally, when you write a not every book has to be traditional like this, but you have the inciting incident, and then you have and then around 25% in, you really know what the hero's quest journey is. 50% in, you kind of have oh no, here's it throws a wrench into everything. And then by the end of it, you kind of have the climax and everything that builds up. And the climax that eventually gets there is the last chapter of what I would imagine to be the climax. So I think the pacing of it did Daya a disservice because my empathy for her didn't start until 75% in. And at that point, my taste in preference has already been kind of set.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because structurally, I felt like the betrayal of Rosa and her clan or tribe among the Brujas, that felt like a middle point to me, ish. And I honestly thought the mother's betrayal was the climax. And then I was like, why? There's still more book? So it either, to me, needed to come sooner or later. It didn't feel properly placed because you're right. I think that it was a turning point in the story in terms of investment. And I think if it had been closer to
Here's the thing about New Year's resolutions. Nearly 80% fail by February. And it's not because people lack willpower, it's because they lack data.
things like leptin resistance, thyroid dysfunction, chronic inflammation, or hormone imbalances, these hidden issues can derail even your best efforts to get healthier or feel better when you realize what's going on.
This year, my focus is really getting my blood work in line, especially when it comes to heart health. That's been a big issue for me, and I know I need to go back and get tested in April. That's exactly why I chose Function. It's the only health platform giving you access to over 160 biomarkers, covering everything from hormones and metabolism to heart health, inflammation, stress markers, and toxins.
You can even add MRI and chest CT imaging, and it's all tracked in one secure place over time. It's the kind of comprehensive view of your health that most people never get to access.
There's a reason why top health leaders are all behind Function. When you stop guessing and start measuring, everything changes. Your health goals actually have a foundation to build on. So this year, don't rely on guesswork, get your data, track what matters, and make resolutions based on your biology.
Own your health for $365 a year. That's $1 a day. Learn more and join using our link. Visit functionhealth.com/booktalk or use the code BookTalk25, that's BOOKTALK 25, for a $25 credit toward your membership. 40%, 50% mark. The rest of it would have flowed properly. I think that the beginning, like you said, 50% could have been condensed.
Yeah, very much so. And especially where you have all of these things that are happening. And I'm going to bring in some secondary characters now, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
And because I felt like it was a very rich secondary character world. I think that when you think about Zuri, when you think about Alex, I think that Mikayla's
Axel.
Axel, damn it. I feel like I
Same
got all
letters.
the letters in there right now. I think Mikayla's really good at grounding those characters and making them very real for who they are. But for all the time that I had with Kaiser in the beginning, I wasn't fully convinced that he would be completely obsessed in love with her. He didn't show obsessive traits, and we also didn't get the scenes of Daya. I was like, I keep saying Day. Why am I saying Day?
Because it's DAYA.
Yeah. Anyway, so there were times where she was like, I needed to get home. I wanted to portal home so I can hook up with Zuri. So I'm going to flirt with him for a couple days. And then I'm supposed to believe that those flirting for a couple days is the thing that makes him, obsessive and in love with her. I didn't get the friendship between them. And Kaiser was just an interesting one where I was like, I don't know where you land for me.
Yeah, Kaiser was curious. It appears as if Daya's blood has addictive properties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and she constantly was withholding from him until the last possible moment, right before he has a breaking point, right? I'm sure that's some form of torture. I agree there could have been more signs that he's obsessive. whether it's stalking, controlling, etc. But I can kind of understand how her attitude towards him created this vicious cycle that he finds himself in, if that makes sense. He also seems to be a fanatic religiously, which was kind of kept on the down low until
the
epilogue.
Scene. Yeah, the epilogue, or the one scene where he let the priest guy come in and do some things. But he came off very like mild-mannered, reasonable.
Yeah. And maybe that's supposed to be part of the twist. Maybe that's the twist at the end, and that's why we get his perspective in the epilogue. I'm not quite sure. Compared to Axel, compared to Zuri, he felt the weakest of the three.
Agreed. And again, this comes down to a point of view and perspective issue where we are in Daya's point of view and we are with her. So therefore, I don't know what's going on with him. So like for me, when he's going down on her and Zuri's watching and Daya is like, oh, I can hear a heartbeat. Well, shouldn't he be able to hear a heartbeat also? And I know she says something like, my moans are covering up. Like, well, how do you know? Like, how is he not hearing a heartbeat also? If it was not in her point of view, maybe we would get something like a little hint of him knowing that she's there and likes that he's, claiming Daya in front of her. And that it was one of those things where I'm like, well, what am I supposed to interpret in this moment? And, the times that he was siding with her mom. Yes, we got a point where he was arguing with her mom, but, I need more of these moments. And it was, he was just, we're not the only one. People on Goodreads were also saying the same thing, that,
oh yeah,
Kaiser was not, like, they didn't feel like he was that developed.
I think part of that is, again, narrative choice in the sense that so much of his real personality and intentions are kept hidden until that epilogue. And I don't know if there were enough clues to...
Yeah, Daya dismisses him. So we don't know anything. Like, that's the thing. Like, she dismisses him so much that, like, we don't even get an inch of clues in there. Let's switch to some other characters that we did, I don't want to say did enjoy, but ones that we definitely felt like were fleshed out. I think Zuri was a great example of a love interest, love the representation, love the spice scenes. I love that Zuri's into watching. I was like, okay, so when is her and Axel and when does all this happen? Like, I want to see that scene.
Yeah, I did enjoy all of that. I also actually think that Mikayla did leave some clues about Zuri's real identity that kind of slip under the radar, but once you go back and think about it, you're like, oh, yeah, they were there. Yeah. So I do think that twist was A, convincing, and B, well done. So kudos to Mikayla for that. I enjoyed their relationship. I also appreciate the fact that this is the lore when it comes to, queer relationships amongst women. It happens very quickly.
It happens
and
so quickly.
I feel like I've known you my whole life. So I'm glad that was there too, because it does happen like that. And I'm mad at Daya for not forgiving Zuri. That's how much I like Zuri.
I mean, you and I have talked about this before, where you've been on a quest for a book that's sapphic and doesn't fade to black.
Mm-hmm.
And this did not fade to black.
Yeah.
You didn't. Yeah. Like you did it, Mikayla. This was a fan-fucking-tastic. Props to her. I really wish that she, I don't know. I feel like Daya, again, where I'm just like, I'm okay with her not necessarily forgiving Zuri, but moved on so quickly. And, you can argue that she still has feelings for Zuri, even though at the very end, she's just kind of like, I'm okay, I forgive her, but not really, but okay. And then she sleeps with Axel so quickly. And maybe that's meant to hurt us or hurt Zuri too. And that just adds drama, and that's the layers to it. But Mikayla wrote a really likable character with Zuri, and, and I've been struggling to like Daya the entire time, where I'm like, well, you're not making me like you more by hooking up with this other guy, which granted gave me more spectacular sex scenes, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But it's like, however, because then she was also having these like I know I've only met him twice, but I feel such a connection to him. Where I'm like, bitch, you said that about Zuri, okay? How dare you? And this is a why choose. And I know with why choose, you're meant to be like, you know, conflicted. But at this current moment, this isn't a why choose. This is a love triangle.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not against the idea of Axel and Daya together. I have a hard time having empathy for Daya, given how hardened she is against Zuri, because there are moments like when Zuri gets captured, Daya cares. Like Daya's like, and I wish it was more, again, this is where Daya's, it's hard to tell because of her perspective and the narrative choices, but is Daya truly just so hardened, or does she not understand her own feelings? You know, is that betrayal, it didn't really feel like a betrayal to me. And I think that's part of it too, is like, it didn't feel like a betrayal. It felt like a third act breakup for the sake of a breakup, kind of.
And I get it, where she's like, I told her things I've never told anyone before, and she didn't tell me this. But like, you know, Miss Warrior Badass, shouldn't you understand what it's like to be a spy? You know, like what it requires from a spy. Like, you're a queen. Yeah.
And like, espionage is espionage. Like, she's loyal to her people. Is that not admirable?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Her people are the ones who's saving Daya right now. So it's not even like she's been if she was a spy for Kaiser, different story.
Yeah,
Instead,
totally different.
Zuri's a spy for her ally, which honestly takes the edge off.
Honestly, it really does. I could forgive that.
Yeah, because now all the things that she's been reporting on is going to ultimately help Daya get her kingdom back.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Zuri.
Oh, Zuri.
I mean, I do appreciate that Zuri's the one captured, because me as a reader, I care about Zuri. I care about Zuri the most out of all the characters. Anybody else would have been like, meh, let them die.
Not Zuri, though. I did appreciate Zuri. There was one point, though, with like, and again, I really wish Mikayla will dabble one day. Maybe she has, and we just don't know it yet, but with third person. And because there were these moments where Daya was talking to Zuri, and, you know, at this point, Zuri had watched Kaiser go down on her, and, you know, her and Zuri go out for a night of dancing, and Daya goes, okay, we should probably talk about it. And then it's sure. And then they just start talking. And it's one of those moments where I was like, okay, like we're just, and I get the women are like willing to talk and stuff, but there wasn't Zuri lifted her head in confidence and said, like, what, you know, and confidently said, or like looked me head on, you know, and I don't think Daya would say those things, right? I don't think Daya would narratively look at someone and say, she looked at me with confidence in her eyes. She, you know, like those descriptors wouldn't make sense coming from Daya. Daya is a straight to the point person. So I get that. But then there'd be like certain moments where I was like, that doesn't make like, okay, well, we're just like, I don't know, like we're going straight into this without any kind of warming me up for the scene. And other things, I feel bad for Daya, but like for me just talking about her. But at one point they were like, we need to go find answers for the crystals. So they go to the library and they look at one book, and then they don't find the answers in one book. And Daya was like, we've been led on a wild goose chase. And I'm just like, you looked at one book. I don't think you would have done well in college, Daya. Like, it requires more than one book. Or the other one that cracked me up, Daya's like walking around, right? She's like, I'm a queen who can do whatever she wants. I'm going to go walk around this village. Oh no, a woman's getting assaulted right now. I'm going to come in and beat his ass. Hey woman, here's a knife. I'm going to show you how to hold a knife one time. And then I'm going to walk away saying, you get to keep the knife. It's okay. I showed you how to hold it one time. You're set and safe. And it's like, am I supposed to be laughing at Daya? Because I was like, I just thought that was the most like, I was like, oh, so you don't think things through. Like, you're just giving a woman a knife, like this knife one time, granted to protect herself, but like you're going to show her how to use it one time and think that that's going to be enough, you know, and just being like, wow. Because afterwards she was just kind of like, yeah,
good for
I did
me.
that. Yeah, like I really did that. I saved it. And I was like, oh, this is hilarious. Like you are so oblivious to everything going on around you. And then I was like, but are you oblivious? Or I was like, I don't know what's happening.
She's very impulsive. The impulsivity comes through. Is she dumb?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't want to keep talking about all the things that I had preferences. I don't want to say issues, just personal preferences. And another thing that I had like a personal preference towards, and again, this was something in the Goodreads where people said you either like it or don't like it, and that was the use of modern language. When Athena was like, "Baby, you want me," and I was like, "Nope, I can't do it." Another time, Daya said like Axel had his boner, and I was like, "Don't say boner." Like this, just like we're in another fantasy world. And some people in Goodreads, their review was loved it. Loved that I couldn't they're not coming up with these weird terms like on my 12th year of living, like birthday, 12 years old. And I know there's people who really appreciate it. My personal preference, when someone says boner in a fantasy world, it's going to take me out. Or a badass. Like that was, she's like called herself a badass.
Yeah. So this type of conversation always makes me think of Crescent City. And the reason why use of these words worked in Crescent City is because Crescent City was fantasy with cell phones. Whereas that's not this world, right? It didn't necessarily take me out of it. It's not my preference. I think that there wasn't enough modern anything else to make the language feel cohesive with the story. I think that, they're in carriages, they're riding horses. Like if there was motorcycles, fine. I could get on board, but there isn't. Feels very medieval. It feels very Renaissance, right? So it's a little harder to justify the modernity of the language with the rest of the setting.
Yeah, when they're practicing with swords and then the FMC says, "I've always prided myself on being a badass." And that's an actual quote. Give me a motorcycle. I ground me in some kind of reality. But again, that is 100% a total preference thing. You said for you, it didn't take you out. And for a lot of people, it didn't take them out. For me personally, it really took me out. And that taught me something about me as a reader. And that's a me thing, not a Mikayla thing.
Right. Again, it didn't take me out. It's not my preference.
I literally had to pause it when I heard boner. I was like, the fuck? So ultimately, I mean, I know I tease, I know there's a lot of things, and I really want to emphasize like this is a completely me thing. And, if there's anything that stylistically, I think it's something that we won't know until we read more. I love the representation. I love what Mikayla did with representation of gender, race, queerness, like everything with, and I was going to say gender, including non-binary. I'm just the range of everything. And I always love and respect a book that does that, where you have a wide choose and the FMC's queer is bi, love it, respect it. Normally it's like two guys, which totally okay with, on board. But now I'm like, ooh, two women. Like, yes, let's change things up.
Yeah. I mean, I think Blood and Brujas and what Mikayla did with Zuri and Daya's relationship gives me hope that, women can read about sex between two other women and enjoy it. And that is very comforting for me personally, not only because of my sexual identity, but also because of what I'm choosing to write in my own writing. So that is a huge, for that reason, Blood and Brujas will be on my bookshelf because I will reference back to it in terms of how was the sex written, how was it incorporated, what made it enjoyable for people who might not be queer.
Yep. I'm happy to help you with any of those moments of what I don't know. I just love a love story, and I just love spicy stuff,
Yeah.
I am equal opportunity kind of spice.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy. Stick around for a special episode this Thursday. Next week, we will be discussing Belladonna by Adeline Grace.
If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps other readers find us. And of course, we'd love to hear what you thought of today's episode. Share your comments through our form at booktalkforbooktalk.com, and we might feature your feedback in a future mini episode or in a Patreon exclusive episode. If you would like to submit your take on any of the books we plan to discuss later this season of Aquarius, Please be sure to follow us on Instagram, where we ask for listeners' thoughts and submissions.
For merch and more ways to support the show, head to BookTok.com. You can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at the handle BookTok. And don't forget to join us by subscribing to the subtextsocietyjournal.substack.com to get more insights into the romantasy and romance world.
Bye. One of my confessions is that in my 20s, I got docked with overdraft fees all of the time.
The pain of my 20s and overdraft fees.
If we had Chime, everything would have been different.
That's because Chime isn't just another banking app. They unlock smarter banking for everyday people like you and me with products like MyPay.
It's not like old school banks that charge you for overdraft fees or monthly fees. It's built for you, the person, not the 1%.
They even give you access for up to $500 of your paycheck anytime and getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. And some of those old banks still don't do this.
I didn't even know it was an option until the Chime.
Chime helps you build your credit history stress-free because you're using your cash to build that credit.
Earn up to 3% APY on savings. Also, you guys don't understand how great that is because it is 7 times higher than traditional banks. Chime is not just smarter banking. It is the most rewarding way to bank. Join the millions who already bank fee-free today.
It just takes a few minutes to sign up. Head to chime.com/booktalk. That's chime.com/BOOKTALK.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services, a secured Chime Visa credit card, and MyPay line of credit provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. MyPay eligibility requirements apply, and credit limit ranges $20 to $500. Optional services and products may have fees or charges. See chime.com/fees info. Advertised annual percentage yield with Chime Plus status only. Otherwise, 1.00% APY applies. No min balance required. Chime card on-time payment history may have a positive impact on your credit score. Results may vary. See chime.com for details and applicable terms.
I've been clearing out my closet, and it just reminds me I need to shop more at Quince because I am tired of fast fashion.
Quince has your back because they are all about elevated, essential fashion that helps you build a wardrobe that feels timeless. With versatile silhouettes and thoughtful details, they're the kind of style that you will wear again and again. I know that because I see you wear it again and again.
I want what I wear to be effortless, but like in the best way.
Quince has wardrobe staples with quality that's made to last. 100% organic cotton sweaters, premium denim made with stretch for comfort all day. That's what I get because I can't handle tough denim.
I love their luxe cotton cashmere blends that are perfect for the changing seasons and my work wardrobe.
Quince works directly with safe, ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen so you don't have to pay for brand markups. They're all about high quality clothing.
Quince uses the highest quality materials like 100% European linen and organic cotton. Everything is built to hold up season after season so that you can wear them again and again. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/booktalk for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too.
That's QUINCE.com/booktalk, BOOKTALK, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/booktalk.
I'm at that age where I'm willing to try anything just for the sake of wellness. And Brello makes finding the right metabolic wellness support easy.
I've been on a GLP-1 for 8 months now. It's been one of the best things that I have done for me. Getting connected to a provider who can give guidance for a GLP-1 can be tricky, but Brello has made the whole experience so straightforward. I knew when I started a GLP-1, I wanted something that was a more sustainable approach to metabolic wellness, and I needed to focus on habits, education, and structure alongside provider insight. And that provider insight is what Brello has offered.
Brello provides transparent pricing with one flat monthly cost. GLP-1 plans start as low as $133 per month with a 3-month commitment.
Brello provides access to a private online community for support and accountability.
I love that they have built-in virtual wellness classes because they range from exercise to nutrition to mindfulness, all of which is important to the metabolic journey.
Brello also has an easy-to-use app to track progress, manage reminders, and stay on top of renewals.
Go to BrelloHealth.com today to see if you qualify. Use the promo code BookTok, BookTalk, at checkout to get your first 3 months for $133 per month.
That's BrelloHealth.com and use promo code BookTalk, BookTalk. All patients must meet with a healthcare provider prior to any medication being prescribed or dispensed. Any medications ultimately dispensed to a patient will be done pursuant to a valid prescription from a healthcare provider. Compounded drug products are not FDA approved. FDA does not evaluate compounded products for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Compounded medications are not reviewed or verified by the FDA for safety, effectiveness, or quality, and are not FDA approved. Not available in all 50 states.